Hi everyone! Today I'm going to review The Kiss of Deception, the first book in the Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. I understand there's going to be 3 books in this series, and the second book is out, and I'm definitely going to be reading it, hopefully quite soon, and then the third book has not been released. The book is about a princess named Leah, who lives kind of in this world that's kind of like a continent like Asia, and she is from a kingdom on the very far west of this continent kind of thing, and she is set to be marrying a prince that she has never met before. She's not really into that, as most people wouldn't be, and so she and her handmaiden run away and they go to a town where they try to hide undercover, and there's an assassin after her, and the prince that she was supposed to marry is following her to see what the deal is, because he was like, "Why did you ditch me right before our wedding day? I want to know more about you." So you have these 2 guys following her, and then you have her hiding out in this small town and her trying to be a commoner, and I'll have to be honest, that's the first half of the book, and I wasn't really feeling it. I would give the first half of the book 2 out of 5 stars. I just feel like it didn't flow very well. There was way too much going on. On top of all of that you have going on, there's this side story that I think should probably be the main story, but it's not, about Leah and how she is what they call the first daughter. She's the first daughter born to the king and queen, and that first daughter normally is supposed to possess some type of gift. They just call it the gift, where you see things before they happen, or you get premonitions or feelings, and that's pretty cool, except Leah doesn't have the gift. She's supposed to have it, but for some reason she's just never really felt that it's something she ever possessed. And to me that's a really cool storyline, but unfortunately this whole thing of running away and then these 2 guys showing up, one's the assassin, one's the prince she was supposed to marry, and they're kind of looking out while she's in hiding and seeing what the deal is with her. The assassin finds himself not able to kill her, probably because of her beauty or whatever, which again to me is just like kinda lame. Prince is really interesting because you kind of feel like maybe they could have been a good match. Why did she run away? And he's trying to figure that out at the same time. The really cool part of this, which happens the second half of the book, which I would give a 5 out of 5 stars because I really enjoyed the second half of the book. So the total I gave this book was 4 out of 5 stars because I really enjoyed the second half. And so I would recommend it for that if you're into YA and you like a little romance and a little fantasy and high fantasy drama. And now I'm going to get into some spoiler stuff. So if you haven't read the book and you don't want it to be spoiled, turn off your camera. Spoiler part. So the whole time you don't know if the two guys that are after her, the prince and the assassin that she meets and that she hangs out with while she's pretending to be this barmaid in this town, you don't know which one's which. So you have Rafe and you have Caden, and you're not sure which one's the prince or which one's the assassin. They're both deceiving her and you're kind of deceived at the same time, except I didn't know that. I just assumed, I totally assumed that Caden was the prince and Rafe was the assassin. No idea. And that when it happened, when it was revealed that it was the other way around, that's when I think the book got interesting for me, and when I was like, okay, I'm like swiping through my Kindle, like hurry, I really want to know how this ends. So that's when it really picked up for me, and I was shocked, and I was like, oh, did it not ever specify which one was which? And then other people who have read it have said, like, yeah, that's the whole time it's a mystery. But I think that because I wasn't so engaged in the first half of the book, I was kind of like, yeah, obviously Caden's the prince, obviously Rafe's the assassin, and then turned out to be the opposite, which I thought was really cool, and that's when I started to kind of get into it. And then that's when they leave this town of Terravan where she's been hiding out, and Caden's the assassin, he kidnaps her with his gang of people, and they're going to take her back all the way across the continent as kind of like a hostage type thing. And that's when I was like, this is getting interesting, because you just sitting in a town hiding out as the princess and 2 boys are after you, one's gonna kill you, one wants to marry you. I'm like, okay, formulaic, boring, totally bored, and I can't get into this side story of you having the gift because I'm so bored with what's happening with you and these 2 dudes. But then when Caden kidnaps her and you find out Rafe's the prince and he's like, where is she? She was supposed to meet me. And you're like, oh my god, this is kind of cool. That's when it really picked up, and that's why I gave the book 4 out of 5 stars. But you really have to get through that first half. I mean, for me anyway, I was just like, wow, really? Formula? I get this formula. But Mary E. Pearson totally threw that out the window, and I was very excited about that. And then I could get more into the idea of Leah having this gift and being able to see things and how she was going to really accept this gift and kind of start to hone it and realize she does have it. I thought that was really cool, and the way it ends with Caden reaching his hometown with Leah in tow and Rafe finally showing up to save her in a way, and they both end up being taken prisoner, and suddenly Leah realizes that Rafe is the prince she was supposed to marry. Pretty cool. So I'm very excited to read the second book. I'm just kind of disappointed that that the first half was so awful. I just was not into it, and it might just be my personal opinion, but I wasn't feeling it. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to the second book. I just picked up this new book called The 11th Hour, which I've heard is incredible, and I just started reading it, so I'm very excited. That will probably be the next book I review. And I finished Richard III. Yay! And now I'm reading The Taming of the Shrew, which is pretty good so far. So stay tuned on Holly Reed Shakespeare year. That's what year it is. I don't know why I do these things to myself. That's all I have. As you can see, I'm in a new location because I moved. So if you want to check out a tour of my house, you can check out my personal channel and Project Nerdy. There will be a video up soon of both of those. So you can see where I now reside. Keep reading, everyone, and keep tuning in for more book reviews. Bye!